everybody, welcome back to Guaranteed Fresh. This is week 2,
Week 2.
episode 2 of Guaranteed Fresh. We back. So, I guess we're just going to jump right into it. What's good for this week?
What's good? First off, what's good is we on week 2. That's the best thing about it. And y'all tuned in again. Subscribe. Keep it going. But my what's good, I must say, is last week I talked about the amendments for the voters. And I had a couple people actually reach out to me to get the paper because they wanted to make sure they can see what I was talking about. So I thought that was good. So they are listening to what we saying.
That's dope.
Good.
That's dope. I like that. Y'all
Definitely.
listening to Coach Jay.
That's a good thing.
That's good.
Okay. What's good with you?
I think what's good this week was the way that Auntie Kamala, oh, and I said her name wrong. Auntie Kamala kind of served it back to the Trump administration during the debate. I really enjoyed that. The fly on the head was definitely the talk of Twitter, definitely the talk of Facebook. But I enjoyed the most the way she knew her facts that she was going at. You know, I do have my differences with some of her perspectives on things, but the way that she was able to eloquently express herself and not kind of cower down to the current president and vice president.
Definitely.
So this week is going to be a little bit different. We actually have a guest this week.
Our first guest.
That's dope. On week 2. I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, we're moving up.
Definitely. If you can tell, we have a new setting. We're going to give you a sneak peek of something that you might recognize. And I want somebody in our audience to guess where we're at. So we have a guest this week, and we're going to be talking about the 2020 election. Like we said last week, a lot of people are choosing not to vote, which is understandable in a certain sense, but there are a lot of other things to vote on other than your president or vice president. There are local amendments, there are local offices that will really impact you more directly than the president and vice president. So we're going to discuss that, kind of get in depth with some of the amendments and what we think is going to happen this year in the 2020 election.
Okay.
Hi, we're back with our first guest, Aileen. She is the the 2020 president of the Pinellas County Urban League New Lights. I used to be a member of the New Lights when I was younger. Yeah, that was way back in the day. We're not going to talk about that. But we're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. It's a great opportunity to be here.
It's great. I'm so happy the next generation is here. I feel old, y'all, but it feels great to just have someone younger to just kind of pick their brain on this election and everything that's going on, because it's kind of crazy out here. If you haven't seen the recent debate, you definitely should go watch it. It was a show.
Yeah, with the fly.
The fly.
It was on social media everywhere, and me and my friends just kept talking about it.
Yeah, all the memes are going crazy. But for information purposes, definitely go watch it too. It's entertaining and informational. Kind of like this show, so tune in. So we're going to get into this year's election. How are you feeling about this year's election?
In the sense of like the candidates?
Yeah, the candidates.
Well, I'm obviously more leaning towards the Democratic side because I feel like for the new generations, it'll probably be a better a smart decision to vote for Joe Biden and for Kamala Harris, because if you watch the the presidential debate, the one where Trump was just neglecting the idea of saying, oh no, he doesn't support white supremacy, but then he didn't want to take any action against the group. So basically you're supporting, and then I didn't really to be honest, I didn't like the presidential election debate because I feel like it was more like an insult. Mm-hmm. First of all, Trump didn't let Biden speak at all. And then, it was just dude, you know what I mean? It was just it was like watching a third grader just talk and insult each other.
Very childish.
Then actually discuss what they're going to do in their presidential debate. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for independent voters, it was probably important because, since they're not really biased to one side, I think they could have taken the opportunity to actually express what they're going to, do while they're in, the next, presidency. Mm-hmm. And then for the vice president, I actually enjoyed it more because I feel like they both talked more about issues, about what's going to be happening in their like if they won again or if they won. So I'm more, and I like because for Trump's like election, they said that they're more pro-life, and I feel like that's a very, like, for the new generation, of course, we're more like liberal in the sense that we think that we have the right to our own autonomy and our own choice as a woman.
Right.
So I think that a woman should have her own choice in deciding if she wants to have a baby or not. And then you have the second one where he said that there is no like racism still in our like criminal like justice system, and I think that's clearly not true in any case, considering that the police officers that killed Breonna Taylor has still not been charged, and that's insane to me. But like he said, there's no bias in the criminal justice system.
I mean, the facts are there. The
Yeah.
statistics are there. So to say that there's no such thing as systemic racism in any form in the United States is kind of just a lie. We're just gonna call it what it is.
Yes.
It's definitely a lie, and I just think that I think he kind of cowers to the president, whatever the president says. For some
Yeah.
reason, I felt like he probably had more of an opinion in previous years. Now he just seems like an echo of President Trump, which is kind of dangerous for us because we all know that our current president is a little underqualified.
And he lies constantly, so it's yeah.
He definitely lies constantly. But I mean, I'm interested to see how this election is going to turn out. I think it's going to get a lot worse in terms of the mudslinging with the two candidates before it gets better. But hopefully we have a good turnout in November. Hopefully.
Yeah. And it takes for you, like the people who are watching this podcast, to actually like make the wise decision and to go out to vote, as well as like the youth, because we are the new generation of today. So what we do today is essentially like how our future is gonna look like. And then I hate when people say, "Oh, I hate how like the politics." Then get involved in politics. Like you can't just expect for the world to change if you're not if you're not taking advantage of the opportunity and actually like voting.
True. And that's a good segue into our amendments. You've been helping the New Lights distribute the amendment papers, giving more information about the amendments. Which one stood out to you?
I think the First Amendment and the Second Amendment about raising like minimum wage. I think it's the idea of having like a higher minimum wage is like amazing. Like, you know, from $8.75 to $15, that's like doubling. But when you increase minimum wage, like the prices of like products as well going to increase. And like you mentioned that. Did you want to talk about like how it connects like inflation and stuff?
Sure. The Second Amendment says that we're going to raise minimum wage up to $15 per hour, but it can go up to $15 per hour until 2026. So that basically means you can get a 75 cent raise one year, 75-cent raise the next year, all the way up until you get to $15 an hour in 2026. That's a long time for them to raise your salary for pennies on the dollar. That's a long time. And if you live where we live, in the sunshine state of Florida, you know the cost of living is always going up.
Expensive.
So if you're making $15 an hour, does that guarantee you somewhere that you can afford to live? Will you be able to afford childcare? How would this $15 drastically affect your life? Does it give you a better quality of life? Or does it just keep you where you're at right now? So that's something to think about in voting for the amendments and voting in general, because I know a lot of people are deciding not to vote, but there are a lot of things that you can vote for, a lot of positions that you can vote for, having to do with your school board, your local government, that will definitely impact you more directly than the presidency.
But I also think it's important to note that like the presidency also affects, because depending on which president like who wins the election, like, you know, like the nominee for like the court, and people know that like judges in the Supreme Court, they don't serve 1 or 4 years, they serve a whole life sentence. And President Trump elected this I forgot her name, but I know she's young. She's not, you know, like in her late like 60s or 80s. She's I think in her mid 30s. So if she does get elected, like you have to keep in mind, does she represent what you believe in? Because like there's only 9 selected, seats in the Supreme Court, and it's already, I think there's 4 or 5 that represent, a conservative, more Republican ideas, which is not really what the new generation believes in. So I think you also need to keep that in mind when you're voting. Do you think that someone who's going to serve a whole life sentence as a Supreme Court decision, because the Supreme Court decision is kind of, it's like an example that state courts kind of lead by, and Roe versus Wade and all this. So I think it's important to keep that in mind.
So you have educated yourself on the process of voting and everyone who is in place while voting. How do you suggest someone your age do the same thing? What's the easiest way to educate themselves on the process of voting and who to vote for?
Well, I think like government, and I think teachers do have a high a influence in how we perceive things, because if you think about it, like they have the decision to either like teach based like on the textbook or from like their experience as well. So I think it's like, because I'm kind of like straying away, but it kind of relates back to the topic. I feel like we need, like in our teaching system, we need more like a diverse population, because there's many states that think that like in the Civil War, they think that, oh no, we weren't fighting for slavery, they were fighting to like for states' rights, but it was mainly due to slavery. So I think like I had a very open government teacher who taught both sides, the textbook side and what she thought about it, which I think kind of opened my eyes to, okay, like not everything is straight from the textbook. And I think we at the youth, like we have the internet like right at our like, you're scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, like just go and read articles, like just read news articles. You don't have to go to no library, just go on your phone and or watch YouTube videos. I actually love watching it's called like, I think it's like the Night Show or something. And like he's funny, like he makes jokes. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, like what, like good morning, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's something like a boring newscast. Just like go on YouTube and watch interesting videos.
Not gonna lie, when I was in school, high school and college, YouTube videos made things a lot easier for me to understand, because some teachers can't necessarily give you the information you need in the way that you can understand it.
Right.
But there's so much information on YouTube, somebody's going to say it in a way that you can understand.
Yeah.
So I definitely found that to be helpful for me as well. And I think just reading amendments, reading things about positions and how they relate directly to my life made it make sense to me. Like, if somebody
read it like from a first perspective, understand it your way, because someone might express it in their perspective, which may not be what really the amendment says. Like the minimum wage. Like if I tell you, oh my gosh, you want like $8 or $15 like as your wage, you're gonna choose 15. But do you know the consequences, or do you know what this might lead to in the future?
Right. So if you had to create an amendment, let's just say none of these amendments exist. With the state of the world right now, what kind of amendments or what kind of law would you create that would benefit your generation?
I think, well, I would either want to like re-emphasize one, or and probably like specifically state it in what I kind of want to lead it towards. So in the 14th Amendment, it says that everyone should be treated like equally. But clearly, that has not happened. It doesn't matter if you're like, if you're a woman, if you're a man, if you're like a minority, like, like there's just so much things that you get discriminated by. It could be like the simplest thing. And I think that for our generation, it's just the simple rule of like equality, that we all have the same opportunity to make like a decision over our body. Just equality for all. Like,
True.
So that's for me.
I think that I would incorporate an amendment also to do with equality, but specifically job equality, and job equality for minorities and women.
Yeah.
So I think it should be on somebody's record. I'm sure there's a statistic somewhere, and I read it somewhere, but I'm not sure where I read it. But it says that women typically make less than men for the same job. Black women make less than that for the same job. How is that fair?
It's not like whatsoever.
You have the same responsibility. You're doing all the same, all
And
the
you
same
might even
tasks.
put in more work than your coworkers too. So you might be like the one taking all the weight and you're still getting paid less.
Right. Definitely getting paid less. And I've been there. I've been there getting paid less for somebody doing the same job that I was doing.
Speaking about that, like I'm not gonna call out, the company that I work for, but I do have a minimum wage job, and I have a coworker who so the minimum I think wage is $8.56. So I started off working at this fast food restaurant. Well, technically it is. And I got paid $8.75 along with my my coworker who also started, she's Asian. But then we found out that talking to one of our coworkers who was that's the same age of us, she does the same job, but she's white, and she started off making like $9. And even though it's 25 cents, you might think, oh, 25 cents, but it's just like the idea, because like the manager, when you first start working, like they're able to change how much you start off with. So I think the fact that like, why, because it wasn't like, oh, she got a raise later on, it's like she started with $9. So I'm just like, why looking at me like, did you like, I don't understand that. Why did she get $9 and I got $8.75 cents? It's 25 cents, but it's just the mentality that's behind it, and the action is just, it belittles my worth, and that I'm inferior to someone who's doing the same job.
So, in simplest form, there you have systemic oppression, which our current president and vice president say doesn't exist. There's that. Yeah. There we have that. So, I think we can wrap it here. Thank you sure.
But one more thing before I did, and so as she said, I am president of the New Lights program, but as well in my school, me and my friend Danny, we started this club called FAIR, which stands for Fighting Against Inequality and Racism. But I think we're gonna change it to Fighting Against Injustices and Racism.
Oh, that's cool.
And basically, we started this club because when we were like during quarantine, like that was when I think like the Black Lives Matter protest was kind of at its highest point. And I think like most teens were like, my mom didn't personally like let me go to like the protest. I was able to sneak into one, but hopefully she doesn't hear this.
Oh boy. Mom.
But but like I kind of felt stuck. I felt like I wasn't making, like I was like, because when I'm 40 years old and I have kids, I want to be able to say like, I was in those protests, I was fighting for equality. But I feel like as a kid, you're stuck in that place where, am I doing enough? Am I really being involved in the community? Like, because some things we just can't just help, because our parents, they do concern about our safety, which is understandable.
True.
So we were both like we feel stuck. So we took the opportunity and we started this club at our school, at Boca Ciega High School. And we're also planning to have like this thing at our school, like around the track field. And we're just gonna like walk around like the track field, kind of like a mini safe, peaceful protest for the Black Lives Matter movement. And we not only deal with like the Black Lives Matter movement, but as well like inequalities in all minorities, like the immigrants and the detention, like like the detention centers.
Yeah.
Because I feel like yes, like there's some iffiness, but I feel like no human should, like a little kid should not be in a cage like starving or taken away from her mother.
Not at all. That's not even human.
I know. So I think if anybody's like interested in the event, I'll probably like send more information about that.
Sure.
And if anybody's as well interested, like to enlist or enroll, like like doesn't matter, a friend, your grandchildren, your child, to the New Lights. It's called the Pinellas Urban Leagues, and we're located here in the south of St. Pete, Florida. So contact Mr. Mike for any information, or just look us up, and we're always helpful to recruit new members. We do a lot of community service around low economic urban cities. So like we said, like we're teaching people about the voting amendments. We do a lot about fighting against injustices. So if you really care about what your future is going to look like, just make the time and just reach out to us, and let's make a change in this world.
As a former New Lights member, I can definitely say they do all of that. They do a lot of community service. They get involved. And the fun thing about the Urban League is that they let the youth bounce off ideas, create their own events, and things like that. So if you're interested in being a part of the Pinellas County Urban League New Lights, definitely get involved. Like if your parents are kind of iffy about you protesting, this is a safe way to get involved in your community And
I used to get community service hours, important for colleges. So
definitely important for colleges. And I just want to thank Aileen for coming to join
Thank
us.
you again.
You had wonderful insight, definitely a fresh perspective on everything to do with our election, our amendments, and just the voting process. And I'm so proud of you and everything you're doing in school. And hopefully we can have you back again.
right, thank you for having me. And I also want to thank Mr. Mike and my vice president. She's the best, and everyone in my cabinet members, because honestly, without them, we wouldn't be doing any community service events. So we all work as a collective team, and without them, we wouldn't do anything that we could do today. So thank you guys, and thank you for having me. It was a pleasure, and I hope I can come here again.
Sure, definitely.
Wow, that was great. Like, she just did an awesome job
She did.
with that. She's so well spoken.
She is.
Imagine being in high school and being organized enough to know about voting that young. Because I can tell you right now, Coach Jay, not at all. I wasn't even thinking about
That
nothing.
wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't, never. But that's great. That's beautiful that we have youth that's on the path to do those things and understand what we need and help the future going forward. Yes.
So, to continue the conversation about our local and state elections, we're voting for representatives. That's something that is worth looking into.
Definitely.
Like, if you don't believe in the power of your vote for president, because they have this thing called the Electoral College.
Definitely.
And in our comments last week, we got a little comment about the Electoral College and how your vote doesn't matter.
Yes.
And I guess that really depends on your perspective and what you know about the Electoral College. So if you choose not to participate in that, that's one thing, and that's definitely up to you. I'm not telling nobody not to vote. But I can understand why you wouldn't want to vote for president.
Yes.
I'm voting, but I can understand why you might not want to. But on that ballot is a whole list of other things that you can vote for. Depending on your state and where you live, there could be a plethora of things to vote for in your state government and in your local government. We're voting for representatives in Florida. And locally, Coach Jay's going to tell us what we're voting on.
So locally, I want to focus on the commissioner, the sheriff, and the education board. These are very important for our community, and we must go into voting with this knowledge to know who we want in office. We have to put the right people in office so we can get the change that we're looking for. I know you see picket signs in yards, but do you know the people that's running? I mean, I know they have Facebook profiles, so you guys should check them out. I'm not going to say any names or any candidates, so y'all don't say I'm jumping sides, but I've seen a lot of signs, and it's easy to find people on social media, very easy. Locally, the education board is highest on my list because I understand the need in the school buildings. Like, we really have a strong need, especially in the 5 failing schools we have in Pinellas County. We really need a strong person in office that can help make a change and help these kids get in the right path.
Very true. I mean, all we have is the generation that's coming up under us, to be honest. And if we don't train them as well as we know how, then what are we going to depend on?
But if they all like Aileen, we good.
If they're all like Aileen, I
Okay.
think we're going to be in a good place.
Join New Lights. That was a plug.
Okay. Definitely join the New Lights. But we definitely have to invest in the young people of
Definitely.
our community. And I will say that choosing the right person to represent your students' needs, your child's needs. I mean, I know you parents have been going through it, still with virtual learning. We talked about it last week. But the right person will give you the resources. They'll give you the tools that your kid needs to maximize the virtual learning, maximize their in-class experience with the right teachers. Because everybody who's a teacher, should they be a teacher?
That is absolutely a great statement.
I'm just saying.
I think so from personal experience, I've seen teachers that have never been on the south side of St. Pete, stay on the north side of St. Pete, don't come to the Walmarts on the south side of St. Pete, and try to teach a class full of kids from the Childs Park area, Bethel Heights area, and they cannot connect. And they don't know how to go about handling them and disciplining them. And if you don't have any discipline and structure in your classroom, there's no learning going on. So that is important to have the diversity in the schoolhouse.
Definitely. So, you know, I came across something on Instagram
Okay,
by the great,
great.
incomparable,
Okay,
insightful
what are you talking about?
Plies.
Plies. Okay,
If you're from Florida,
you
you know
know
Plies.
plies. Shout out to
Plies.
plies.
Shout out to Plies from Fort Myers. He ain't from here. It would be nice if he was. He'd be here enough. But
Yeah.
Plies. So to get back to Plies, he posted about this year's. He's been making a lot of posts about this year's election, but he kind of posted something that was very thought provoking to me about felons being able to vote in the United States. Is voting really a right? Is that something that should be stripped from you after you serve time? It doesn't matter how long the sentence. We're talking 2 months to 15 years. However long your sentence was, should you be stripped of your right to vote in the United States because of your conviction and time spent in prison?
No, I think I'm gonna just try to figure out if I know why why they won't allow. Maybe they don't allow because they feel like you broke their rules, so you must pay in the way they feel. And they know that voting, numbers with voting that can get somebody out of office very fast. So they can control the narrative by taking away a large population, because there's a large population of people in prison for whatever reasons there may be. They can kind of hold hostage who they want.
That's true. To me, I'm gonna think of it in a different way. The same way that you're thinking, kind of, but a little bit different. The population in these prisons, it, overwhelmingly minority.
Okay.
Is that a way to control the minority vote, or to make sure that the minority vote isn't as loud or as seen as it should be? I don't know. That's just how I'm thinking about it.
So not only are they taking the minority vote away with that because it's a high number of minorities, they brainwash you as well, so you feel like my vote don't count. That's probably why, like on the first episode, we have a lot of people that feel like voting is not important. Not to say that the people we are talking to have been incarcerated. It's just, you say stuff a lot, it just get around, and that's the norm. We shouldn't vote. It don't count. It doesn't matter. And so that's probably why.
That's true.
Yeah.
I feel like even if you were to take that right to vote away, I feel like it should only be during your sentence in prison. Like after you have served your time that the justice system has deemed long enough, I feel like you should regain all of your rights.
Correct. If you go to timeout in class,
Okay.
after you get out of timeout, are you able to sit at the table and do your work?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
It makes sense.
And Plies mentioned that even though you are incarcerated, that doesn't strip away your responsibility to pay taxes or to pay for the crime that you committed, or for them to get free labor from you while you're working in prison. So why should you not be able to contribute to the society that you're in? So, I mean, I was kind of grateful that he posted something like that. I'm so happy that he's been posting these thought-provoking things, but that one in particular really stood out to me because it's kind of like a touchy subject, but I just can't really understand why you wouldn't be able to vote after being incarcerated.
Control.
Yeah.
I would not to say telling pliers to do something. I'm sorry.
Not pliers.
I'm sorry.
Pliers.
I'm sorry. But it would be great for him to go into a prison system and educate the inmates on these things so they know what to look for when they get out. And I say that because he looks like them. Like, you relate more to people you look like. So if he was to go in there and, just tell them things like that and just speak their language. Because like how he did it, I'm pretty sure he was talking how we can understand. He wasn't using terms or jargon that we don't get. So I think it'd be good for him to go in there and talk to them. Just sit them down. Do you think they would allow that?
Ooh. First, what you think they will understand him?
They would understand him.
You think?
I know they would.
Okay.
They would. They
All
would.
right.
They would. And I think it takes somebody like them, like us, to get that message across so they know, like, we do care. It's people that look like you that care.
Mhm.
You should care too. This really matters. It's not just a 4-letter word that we just got to push away.
True.
We do have to take this very serious.
True. I mean, personally, I would love to see Plies more out in the forefront politically because I can agree with a lot of his views. And like he was saying, we have to see people. Representation is very important, especially in this climate. If you know that somebody is behind you and they understand the way you understand, it's important. So, I mean, Plies, if you want to governor 2024, let us know. Let us know. We might back you or something. Let us know if you want to run for something, Plies.
Definitely. Oh, with that said, I did some research. I should have knew this already, but do you know what it takes to be a president?
Did you have to be like, what, 35?
35,
Citizen.
citizen,
That's it.
14 years in the country. It's
14 straight years in the country.
14 straight years,
Mhm.
citizen. Spend $5,000 on your campaign or raise $5,000, and you can be a presidential candidate. So Coach J might.
2024. No. You ready?
I'm telling. Hey,
I'm done.
I figured it out. Me and Plies. You need a VP? Okay. Had to. Hey, you never know. It could happen.
Jason.
Guess who the president is? How he got there? It could happen.
This is true.
It can happen.
If he can do it,
Okay,
so can you.
definitely.
That doesn't mean you should, but you can. What?
Nothing. Go ahead. Nothing.
I'm just saying. So we know a lot of people who are qualified to be president, to be honest.
You right?
So, speaking of terrible things in the United States, we're coming up on a holiday.
Holiday.
Yeah,
What?
the holiday coming up.
What's it? Halloween. Halloween. That's the last month. The last day of the month.
Mm.
Something like that.
Oh, well, I mean, by the time you have seen this, it would have passed. It might pass, like, and you wouldn't even notice it's gone.
But what you talking about?
Columbus Day.
Who is that?
Columbus.
Nah. Enlighten me.
Christopher Columbus.
Christopher.
Sailed the ocean blue.
Okay. He sailed the ocean. And
Right.
stole from people like me and you. That's
Oh, no.
Oh, all right.
Oh,
Go ahead,
wait.
Go ahead.
I didn't know you was going to go there
I
with
ain't.
it.
Okay, I'm just going on. You talking about that guy?
Stole it. Well, he discovered something that was already there. So, yeah, he stole it. He stole it.
Stole it. He stole it. He stole it.
He definitely stole it.
So okay, why are we teaching about a thief? Before you answer, did you learn about Robin Hood a lot in school?
No,
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
Should
He
I have?
actually did good after he gave back.
So I should have learned about Robin Hood instead of Christopher
I
Columbus.
think it might be the same.
Did y'all celebrate Columbus Day? Did y'all catch any of those sales? Is it hypocritical for us to shop on sales for like a thief?
Well, I
Like, in
feel
the
like
name of
okay.
the
I'm gonna
thief?
answer this like I'm gonna answer this for y'all.
Okay.
Ask me the question again so I can get it correct. Go ahead.
Is it hypocritical
Okay.
for us to shop sales
Mm-hmm.
that were created in the name of a thief?
But we kind of being a thief because we getting it 50% off
That's
now.
not stealing. That's not stealing.
So we it's kind of the same thing. 50% off, 70% off, 80%. That's a steal. That's what I say. When I see something that's 80% off, that's a steal. I gotta get that.
So we're gonna catch Coach J at JCPenney's getting a new comforter set for 70% off on Columbus Day.
You know how much comforter set costs?
Your ancestors will not be pleased at all.
You know how much a comforter set costs?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
I'm just saying. For the ancestors, you could pay full price.
you're right. But it was on sale, and we got to save money now.
I'm giving him the side eye, y'all. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm not shopping on Columbus Day.
So you're not. That's hypocritical.
The only Columbus that we celebrate. Oh,
Yeah.
I said that all wrong.
Wow.
The only Christopher we celebrate
Oh.
is y'all know who. What?
Finish.
You know
Finish.
which one do we celebrate?
Finish.
It's definitely the BIG.
Okay.
Christopher Wallace.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
that's the only one. Only Christopher. Oh, and my little nephew Christopher and my brother Christopher.
Oh.
But BIG on the
Gotcha.
holiday. All right. So I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. What has been keeping you going this week?
Keeping me going. Sales. Catching sales has been keeping me going all week.
What kind of sales?
All kind of sales. Sales on everything. I'm looking for the slash the price. BOGO. Buy one get one free. They got that at Publix. Fruit. The sales. What
The
got you going?
Publix fruit is fire.
Very
It's
fire.
worth the buy one get one free.
Mm-hmm. And they have you get 3 for 1 on Columbus Day.
Are you playing devil's advocate right now? Are you being for real? Don't play. Like you really doing the Columbus Day sales?
No, I'm just playing.
Oh, okay.
So what got you going?
I mean, I don't know. Like I would say, I've been really enjoying this series that I've been listening to. It's a pastor on YouTube. His name is Pastor Michael Todd, and he has lots of series to do with faith. Have lots of series to do with relationships. But this, I think, for the past 3 Sundays, he's been preaching on forgiveness and the importance of forgiveness. So throughout the week, I've been kind of soul searching and thinking about all the things I should forgive myself for, forgive other people for, like grudges and all of that. And that's really been just keeping me going, keeping me, positive in self-reflection, but positive moving forward, because I realize there are a lot of things I can let go of in order to move forward and without having all that baggage on me. So I think that has been really helpful throughout this week.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That is good. I'm going to have to check that out.
Definitely, Pastor Michael Todd. So we want to say a special thank you to everyone who has watched our YouTube, who has tuned into our podcast, because the love was really overwhelming. What did you see in your comments? What kind of feedback did you get?
I got good feedback. A lot of positive feedback. People asking when's the next show, when is it gonna come out. So they want to put it on their schedule, and that's a good thing. You know, we hope to get more followers, more viewers going forward. Like the comment you seen, glad we addressed that.
Definitely.
And leave comments so we can address it and talk about it. We want to be in touch and tap with y'all.
Sure. And if you have a small business and you want to showcase your business on our podcast, let us know. If you like to sponsor a podcast, let us know. If you like to collaborate in any way or be a guest, have anything that we should talk about, let us know. Put it in the comments. Hit us up on our Facebook. We have a Facebook now, guaranteedxfresh, same as Instagram. And you can find me, Cashlyn _official on Instagram. And you can find him,
Brigman Televales.
on Instagram.
Definitely.
You can question him about his name choice, because Coach J, I guess that was taken. So you'll find him there. So with that being said, we'll catch you next week.
All
right.
This is something I've been trying to figure out the answer to. We live in a country, 300 and some million people, and the majority don't feel that people who are incarcerated should be able to participate in our democracy. They shouldn't have the right to vote because they're incarcerated. Voting ain't a privilege. The system tries to make us believe that voting is a privilege. It's like getting the education in this country. That ain't deemed as being a privilege. I can have been and went to jail, and I still have the right to get an education in this country. So why is it, I think besides 2 states, Vermont and Maine, that they're able to participate in an election, but the other 48 states in this country, people who are incarcerated can't participate in our election? And this is the problem that I got with it. You're saying they're not good enough citizens to participate in our election only because you know the power of the vote. But you're saying they're good enough citizens to still pay this country taxes. You're saying they're still good enough citizens to provide this country with free labor. You're saying they're still good enough citizens to pay child support. So how is it that you act like voting is a privilege and now they do something wrong and you say, we're taking your voting rights away from you? And how is it that the majority don't see this as being un-American? I don't understand that for the life of me. How are these people not good enough to participate in our democracy and to cast their vote? They're gonna, some of them, most of them may get out of jail next month, next week, next year. They still have to live in a society that they should be able to have their voice heard based on the rules and regulations they still gonna have to abide by. So how they're not good enough to participate in our democracy, but they still good enough to pay you taxes? Somebody please explain that to me.